Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Seth. Tarky.
I'm okay.
I'm good.
I really thought I was going to get away without having a Zoom meeting today. Would be-
Well, you can cancel it, you know.
I almost did, but that's okay. Let's see what we can get done.
It's only my second.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot. There is funding we should probably figure out how we might pursue at this point. And maybe we can talk a little more about that, because I just got more information from Upper Susquehanna Coalition, and they're reaching out for funding.
What are the categories for funding?
Yeah, so the project funding they're looking at the proposal is really $2 million to support natural filter restoration and resiliency. And it's a focus on our watershed community proposal. So I'm just writing support letters to the Senator Gillibrand, Schumer, and then Delgado and Tenney in New York. And then that money would go, that's really mainly, I think, for stream bank restorations and things. But there's a second pot that is from Hurricane Fred, and she's going to send me that information after I get this first support letter out to her.
Oh, good.
And that is something we had talked about doing through NIFWIF, and that's more planting efforts, because that's what they do. But it would be funding for something that Colleen and Lydia and I talked about earlier, to have a fall tree and shrub festival for the Kettle Lakes, so we can get some projects moving. And that hasn't been well thought out yet, but the funding could be there for us to do it.
Good.
Which would be great.
I took a look at the Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a call for projects coming up, and wondering if our dam issue on Tully Lake would qualify. I don't know if you know Tim DiGiulio, used to be with DEC Region 7.
The name's familiar, but I don't know.
I'm not sure why Judy's calling me. She's just downstairs. Hold on. Jude? Oh, it's my grandson. Hold on. I'll be right back. It's his birthday.
So fun.
There already is.
Oh, wish him happy birthday.
I will.
I'm sorry I'm late. While Jim's doing that, you were talking about letters of support for Lydia.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get those out.
And so you'll send one from the Kettle Lakes Association, and I'll send one from Tully Lake Property Owners.
Yeah, and then we're going to get out. Nancy's going to send from NICEFOA.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And they're due like tomorrow.
The 8th, like tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're due. Isn't tomorrow? I might be
No,
wrong.
we got an extra day. We're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
This
I'm
always
sorry.
happens with funding.
I'm behind. Letters for what?
The one I was talking about earlier, Seth, the letter of support that goes to Gillibrand and Schumer and the others for funding for the Upper Susquehanna plantings. Yeah.
And that was, yeah, that's where we're hoping to get support for that tree and shrub festival in the autumn. And they typically.
That's actually not it. You and I can talk about it later.
Okay.
There's a couple of different pots of money that she's looking at. And
Okay.
so this one is more for
Buffers.
stream restoration and
Buffer.
large buffers at farms and so
Yeah.
forth. It still helps us.
Sure
So
does.
it's still really necessary, but it doesn't work directly on our lakes.
Okay.
The second one.
Yeah, we were
is the
told.
one. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we
Go
had
ahead.
them look at our, plantings, and they said, nope, you don't really need anything. You're fine, except now we've got a stream. They just dug up this stream that now comes in. I don't know if you've been by the corner of Gatehouse and Long Road, where they've got those
I
big
haven't been there for a while.
mounds of
Yeah.
where they dug that whole thing up. it's the Shirleys. I have no idea what they're doing there, but it just doesn't seem like it would be good. like a lot of stuff could wash in from that.
The Shirleys are doing it?
Yeah, it's that
All the
property.
DEC stuff. We've
We've
had issues with the
we
Shirleys
we
here.
we
Yeah.
have, and the DEC doesn't want to touch us now because of a Souther issue. I'll call them again, but we've already done that.
Who do you talk to at DEC?
It was over a year and a half ago, so I don't know the name.
So there's a guy there, not all agents are the same. So there's one guy who's been more responsive. His name is Costa. Let me see if I can get you his info.
That would be good. Yeah.
All right. I think it's Andrew Costa, but let me find out for sure.
And it was subsequent to the August event that they just dug up this big creek bed, and all that stuff goes into Crooked Lake. And I don't, maybe what they did was really to help the environment. It doesn't look that way.
We've had issues at the southern end of our
Okay.
lake too with the Shirleys, and they are longtime landowners around here, and historically they've been able to just kind of do whatever they want. So
Are they the ones that apply the manure really close to Crooked Lake? Because some neighbors to them were really commenting about that. Because you would.
now I don't sure. So there's a big family.
Yeah.
And not all Shirleys are the same. So but some of them just do what they want to and take the consequences for the environmental damage later. Just pay the fine without getting even just down to the southern end of the lake, there were a lot of trees taken down and a lot of soil moved, and that erosion was coming right into the lake. And there were no, what do you call those barriers?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Nothing to keep the soil from just rushing in. So DEC did come and he did put the barriers up. They're still there. I mean, I think he'll never take them out. They'll just be there forever, buried in the soil. But he did put them up.
Okay, but yeah, if you get me the name and number of somebody who's responsive, or give me any tricks of how DEC can be responsive. We had another issue where two neighbors were pitted against each other, and the DEC guy said, "For when I don't want to touch this lake anymore," which of course is abdication of your responsibility. You can't
Of course
do
it
that.
is.
But I want to
Okay.
make it work.
Okay, I'd be happy to send that name to you because
Thanks.
I know, again, just recently it was just actually a raccoon issue. A neighbor called one DEC agent and he just said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And then the other DEC agent came down, and so you get different responses depending on who you call. Yeah,
Good to know. And this does have direct bearing to the storm issue, because if there's a major storm, that particular stream is now just loose gravel ready to come into the lake.
Yeah.
I think, Seth, it's different now. I think you've got more, given what's happened and what happened down that road. I think there's a lot more issue related to that. I think they're going to act on it this time. I'd like to believe they will act on something this time.
Okay.
I think, but
if we can get some plantings in there and help them out, and
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay.
And you know what, Seth, you're in Onondaga County. I mean, we can also talk to Teresa Link from Onondaga Soil and Water Conservation District. I have had a lot of luck with Teresa, and I think that she would be interested. So, I would first contact the DEC, and if you don't get anywhere, let me know, and you and Teresa and I can chat together, because she's going to be working with us with some projects around the waste treatment plant. So,
Okay.
But it does sound like more immediate. You need something more immediate, like silt fencing.
exactly.
Right.
So hopefully the DEC, if I call the right person, might
Right.
help us out with that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, people do all kinds of stuff around their shorelines and their properties, and sometimes they know that they're not supposed to, and sometimes they have no idea. So it just depends. So if we there aren't really, there's nobody here from Little York Lake, so maybe we can we've talked a little bit about the funding, maybe not do any real work except keep working, keep the communications going.
Right.
One piece of communication to share is that we are writing an article for the Preble newsletter. So that's going to be on some of the work that we're trying to do. And I initiated some of that a while back, but now we can make it a larger statement. So I'm working with Don to get something out there.
Would that go to the, sorry, would that go to the Tully newsletter?
We can send it to the Tully newsletter. When David was there, he was great. He would take any article I would send and he would put it up, but we don't have that kind of response lately. So we'll see.
Oh, really? With the town supervisor?
I don't know who does, it's whoever does the newsletter. So.
John Masters, he's been pretty responsive to me anyway.
No, but the actual newsletter writer, whoever is putting.
Yeah, I think he heads that up. A lot of
does he?
Goes into it is him. I would think if I asked him, he might be responsive and get some awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have articles in there regularly. But it was a bigger newsletter. It was several pages that David put together, and he's passed away. So they've pared that back. And it's hard to get somebody to spend the time to do that.
Yeah.
Can I ask Tarky, the focus of this Preble newsletter article? What is the focus of it? And I'd be happy to edit it like the last time. Let me know. But
I'm going to rope you in for sure. But it's
is it about
introducing our storm response? And I put together a little blurb already, and we can put in pictures. Okay, some of the pictures from the storm, and August would be great to add to enhance what we're trying to do and say. And I do have a little blurb already started, so I'll share that with you.
And I think it would be good, Seth, if you would help us get it over to the Tully newsletter, maybe check out, see who that contact person is. I think the Tully folks would love to see that article. I think it would be good.
I think if I contacted John about it and let him know we've got a storm response as the town supervisor, he might be aware. And because if it does have some things to do with what the highway department's doing, if he has awareness that there is a committee, we're looking at this, and he's been pretty responsive to, we got the keyholing through pretty easily, I think. Thanks to him.
Right.
I wonder if how much the highway department is going through. I know there's been a lot of outreach through Cornell Cooperative Extension, as well as Rebecca Schneider doing ditch work with farmers and so forth. But they've also reached out to a lot of highway departments to bring in a better understanding of what they need to do. And I wonder if Tully, I know that Dave Griswold is pretty good and pretty knowledgeable here in Preble, but I have no idea what Tully has done to address some of those issues.
No idea.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we can ask those questions too. Well, that's kind of what I have. So, we did the one survey. We got the survey together, and now we have to get it out there so people will respond.
So can we talk a little bit about that for a minute? Because I wondered, I think that it was going to be distributed by Kim at a Saturday meeting to her folks. Do we know if that happened?
It did, I was there.
Okay, and how many folks do you think it got to?
You know, we said it was coming out. I think it's even on. I asked Tony to put it up on the website. I'll go and check again.
Okay,
But we haven't done a specific outreach for that. We tagged it onto what we're doing with the weed management, because that was
Yeah.
really a weed management issue. So, but they know it's out there. So,
Okay.
and we did talk about what we are doing with the storm team.
and can I ask what the other lakes are thinking about in terms of distributing those surveys?
Crooked, when we get it, we'll send it around. We just sent out a survey last night on the weed control. We're going to put clear cast on the lake, it looks like.
Okay,
So I'll probably wait at least a couple of weeks so they don't get survey saturated.
right. And Jim, what do you think? I was thinking of sending it out just before our annual meeting and then doing a paper one for people who weren't comfortable with technology. And then we could input those so that we might, I mean, because we might get 50 or 60 or maybe 70 people at the meeting. That's kind of the general thing. What do you think about that? Or is it waiting too late for us? I don't know.
That's a ways out. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
waiting until June,
Yeah.
what, July. June,
July, yeah, it's usually that Thursday in July. So you think just sending it out as an email blast would be better?
I think so. And,
Okay.
and it's given the URL for the website, right? So
Right.
people can go on and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we
Okay.
can follow it up at the meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, we can do that.
That sounds like a plan. I'm
Okay.
going to request an email blast too, but like as with Crooked right now, Song has really been focusing on the weed management. So,
All
yeah.
right.
Let's see.
Seth, remind me again, clear cast is used for which weed?
It's lily, spatterdock, and I think it's watercress. It's a broadleaf weed that we have problems with, and I mean they lead to tussocks. I mean, one of the guys he pointed out, because if you get into one of those tussocks and you capsize, like he was saying, and I was thinking it's a safety issue.
You can't swim out of them very easily, yeah.
It would be tough. So I didn't even think of that until
Right.
last night when we were on a call. So yeah, it looks like so far I think there's always going to be a dissenter, but people are behind it.
And how long will it take to get DEC approval for the permit?
I called the guy at DEC. Yeah, I'm so bad with names, but he was the guy that reviews it. He told me that it's a 21-day process. That, well, first of all, we get the contract with Solitude. They've got a quote, but we've got somebody that's gonna. We've got people that are gonna pony up the money. So we're gonna really try to. That seems to not be a barrier. Solitude will help us with the DEC application. We'll submit the application. There's a simultaneous 21-day process where DEC does an internal review of our application, which the guy said we'd probably be approved. And then that 21-day process is also while everybody on the lake is notified and has a chance to oppose it. He said, you can't just oppose it. It would have to be a serious reason why you would. It's not just, I don't like chemicals on my lake, or I'm not going to be able to swim in the lake for, I think they said 14 days, and this is like a 1-day process. So it seems like this is likely to happen. I can't, people are very strongly in favor of it over in that area.
Yeah, the state's been pretty agreeable to some of these weed control measures with approved herbicides, so.
Yeah, we have
Solitude's a
our,
good firm, so.
we've already moved, we have done our down payment with Solitude. We got the permit rolling. And we sent out, just as of this week, letters to everyone with to let them know what we're doing, that we're moving forward. And so it does look like it's going to happen. And I don't see, nobody has spoken up against it at all.
Really?
Doing just
yeah.
localized areas,
Yeah.
very targeted areas, yeah.
Yeah.
The
and
issue with the herbicides is you've got to do it consecutive years in a row to have a real impact.
Right. Yeah.
Because these exotic species, invasive species are pretty prolific. And some of the species have multiple means of reproduction, so.
we've got divers coming out from ESF within the next 2 weeks looking for the brittle naiads. So I'm hoping they'll
Good.
find it so we can target that with aquathol. Otherwise, we're just using Chrysalicor for the milfoil.
So quick question, because
Good thing we don't have a weed problem, Colleen, otherwise.
I know.
we-
I'm looking at our quote that we got from Solitude, and it was about 15 grand. And I remember, Tarky, you saying that's about what yours was. You're much smaller, Seth. Can I ask about how much your quote was?
Yeah, 7 for 2 targeted areas. It's 10 acres.
Okay. And then Tarky, did they say how many acres for you?
We're doing 5 acres altogether and targeted it, but it's also, when I said the 15, that was for so the Chrysalicor applications are different. I think that was that was 4,600.
Right.
Then on top of that, the aquathol was a little bit more, I think,
Right.
another 2 or something. And then of course the pre and post analysis, and that's 1,500. And then I think it was about 2 grand for the
For
the
permitting.
application. for the
Yeah,
permit.
yeah. And so quick question, and this kind of is for Jim. I got contacted by, and this is, I mean, it's not an issue if you're not using harvesting, but until Tully Lake gets this process moving, which I'd suggest, Jim, we start looking at maybe to start in 23, if we're interested. They are finding that the harvesting is basically booked all summer. So the last chance I got is the last week of July, which is relatively premature in some ways, because most of the weeds tend to get big and become problematic in mid-July. But it's because the harvester is booked doing water chestnuts all over New York State now. I guess there's very few of them. So I asked, just for the heck of it, Kathleen McGrath, and this would be interesting to find out from Amy or Don, if we could roll some of that funding into using the dredger that Little York Lake got as part of that $650,000 grant, with the understanding that it would be used as needed also on the other Kettle Lakes. And she wasn't aware of that. Amanda was aware of it because she was the one, when I asked her, no offense to Little York Lake, but what happened to Tully Lake being considered, she said, well, you get to use their equipment. And I said, okay, I'll remember that. So I asked Kathleen if we could roll some of that funding into dredging, Jim, at the south end of the lake where all that sedimentation is built up around the dam. If they won't do it, then maybe we could use that funding and have their equipment. And she sounded confused about equipment. So for anyone that's interested, that's what's happening with harvesting. And I don't know what's happening with that potential use of their dredger that they got with that grant money.
Well, my question about and it's right in line with what you're saying, because I wondered, okay, so you kill all the weeds,
Right.
but 80% of our nutrient is internal loading.
Right.
You kill all the weeds, you're adding all that phosphorus back into that area. Does it make sense, or did they ever recommend, maybe it's a question for Strader, but if you kill the weed and once the systemic kills the weed, get that weed out of the lake, and would that prevent systemic internal loading by that weed dying? Get it out of there.
You'd have to ask Strader. I would say that when I was out on your lake, Seth, and I saw those tussocks, they're pretty intense. That's all I'm gonna
Really?
say. They're really intense. And I can't imagine that the dieback from that wouldn't cause some issues. But I would ask Strader, I don't think you're gonna get it out with harvesting afterwards. I mean,
I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a long history, 10,000 years of sediment down there.
yeah.
And so you're talking about 1 year of growth. It'll have an impact, but it's not going to be as great as you think.
Okay, that's good.
And you know what, Seth, I asked Strader when we were out on the lake, if Tully Lake wanted to move forward with some use of chemicals, let's say going forward in 23 and beyond, would it set us up for the potential of higher nutrient loading and potential increase of harmful algal blooms? And he said they're not noticing an increase in harmful algal blooms as a result of using these targeted chemicals. Is that what you heard, Tarky, when we were out on the boat with those?
Yeah, and I would actually be more concerned about areas of decreased dissolved oxygen and sort of,
Right.
kind of dead zones,
Okay.
at least temporarily. I don't know.
Okay.
But not associations with HABs, probably not.
I would like to at least explore what dredging in those two areas would do. They're getting very shallow.
Right.
It's a topic I know nothing about, or what the secondary consequences of dredging would be. But if we've got access to it through that grant,
You know what? I hope I'm not speaking too generically, because Tully Lake is also still in Cortland County. And Little York Lake is in Cortland County. So I don't know, Song Lake and Crooked Lake are both Crooked Lake is fully in Onondaga County. That's where we would go, I think, to Onondaga Soil and Water to speak
Okay.
with their pond managers. They have people that's all they do is lake and pond management. And so we could set up that meeting, but she said the Kettle Lake, she did use the word generically. So, but
Okay.
I'm wondering if she's saying the Kettle Lakes in Portland County. I don't know,
okay,
but we could find that out. We could
I
find
mean,
that out.
the issue with dredging is once you dredge it, where you're going to put it and how you're going to manage the dewatering. And dredging can resuspend more phosphorus likely than the dieback of
1 year.
1 year of phytoplankton. I mean, because you're digging in deep, and that a lot of the phosphorus is locked up. It's locked up at the sediment water interface. If it's
Disturbed,
oxygenated,
if
it
it's disturbed,
precipitates out with iron, and if you dig it up and that stuff that's deeper,
it's problematic. Right,
well, you're going to have some flux. So you probably want to do it in the fall,
right.
so give it time to settle back down. But the big issue is if you're going to dredge 1,000 cubic yards, where are you going to put it? You don't want to haul it away. You probably just want to use it locally in some fashion. Maybe as pretty rich in nutrients. Maybe we can get some of the farmers to handle it, but then you got to manage it and handle it and spread it. And there's probably chemical testing you got to do just to make sure if you put something on somebody's farmland, we're not adding something else.
Right. I wonder if Little York Lake, what their plan is, why they are using a dredger, and what their plan is for using it.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
maybe
I
we
don't
can,
either.
maybe we can add that to the future storm agenda as a discussion about, Little York Lake and their dredging program. Because I feel, and I could be wrong, that there are a couple of areas down by the culvert too, that I thought if we could clear some of that out, I mean, I know that, I don't know how much help we're going to get with that culvert, Jim, and if dredging
Yeah,
would help.
I'm not hopeful, but,
Right.
and I meant to say before I got interrupted by my grandson,
Mhm.
I talked with Tim DeGiulio, used to work with DEC Region 7. He now works for us on a part-time basis. And he used to work for Homeland Security. And that funding for, dam hazards, it comes through Homeland Security. And he said that it's a lot of work to get those grants. And it doesn't look like his view that we're gonna qualify. Our hazard ranking on that dam is the lowest possible.
Sure.
I mean, there's no downside to it failing. I mean, it's pretty much just recreational.
Right. Right.
So he said, you could try, but it'd be a lot of work and your chance of success is probably pretty low.
Slim to nil. So
Yeah, so I'll call another meeting of our dogs group,
Mhm.
the dam and outlet group. We call ourselves the dogs.
Okay.
But I think, Colin, we can talk about this without taking everybody else's time, but
Okay.
I think we should consider using some of our own funds, start to pursue the permitting process, and maybe just get some volunteer help. And in the fall, hopefully we have a fall low flow period, go out there and reconstruct it ourselves.
Right. Okay.
So, Jim, in terms of anything relating to TMDLs and the Susquehanna River Basin, Chesapeake Bay flows,
Right.
would there be any possibilities there? I know it's small, it's not very big, but that might be
Yeah,
one place to look.
yeah, the problem is unless we create some false narrative, shall I say, there's really no real impact to the downstream and everything. It's not like nutrient loading and the like. This is primarily for aesthetics and for homeowners. And
Okay.
that's the way I view it. I mean, there is some damage. It'll give us more control. And that's why, I thought maybe having some of the property damage information and everything may help us get over that hump a little bit.
Yeah.
And we might, maybe if things come back and there's much higher incident of
The damage.
flooding
Then we know.
damage and the like,
Then
we
we
can
know.
pursue something else. But
Right.
I just think, I think as I started to think about it, we probably want to replace it in kind, which will be easier to permit.
Right.
And tried to establish some larger structure that have some operational and O&M issues. I mean, right now it's easy. We go out there, we put in flashboards, we take them out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. We don't have a stream. So it's
What
very
scares
different.
me is that,
Oh.
some of the historical back in the 60s, before they put that dam in, the cove that we live on here, or St. Charles Bay here, was pretty much dry.
Right.
So you could almost walk. There was a little moist spot in the middle, but it was drawn down pretty
Wow.
far.
Right.
So, well, let us know what you decide, Tully Lake folks.
Yeah.
It's-
We will.
yeah, you have a lot going on there. So I don't know if we have anything else to go over, Jim. I don't.
I'm just looking for feedback on the outline, and maybe if we get a larger cast next time, we could, if people have time, maybe send an email out to say, go through it, put some of your thoughts in there. That was my, couple hours on a Sunday afternoon, and
Right.
I just want to make sure we're hitting all the right points, and then we're going to have to make some assignments on how we're going to write it up. And
I want to apologize. I mean, we don't have any real organized structure with this group. I mean, we just said we're going to be a team with representatives.
Right.
Kim had taken it on to do the minutes, and I was going to just continue with the agenda, remembering meetings and things like that. But there were no minutes from the last meeting. So I'm going to contact Kim and see if there's something, because I don't remember what we decided in the last meeting, what we need to do going forward. So I'll try to, I know we have a recording of it because I did send her that, and we
Yeah.
have a recording of this. So
Right.
between the two, what I'll try to do with Kim is put together minutes and tasks that we can follow up on. including what you just said, Jim, to have people go online and give you the feedback you need on that outline.
Yep.
So, okay.
You know what, Tarky, I'd be willing to go through this video and do minutes for tonight and try
Okay.
to come up with some structure to that. Jim, remind me, did we put your plan in a Google Drive folder? And so we can all respond to it?
It is in the Google Drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because,
Okay.
yeah, because I did go through it, but I didn't go through it between the first time I looked and now, and I need to look at it again. But I think that it was really worth looking at, and maybe we could, it's almost like, it gives us possible strategic action planning guides of some steps we might take that we can set out over, let's say, the next 3 years. So I think that would be good.
Yeah, and honestly, Jim, thank you for doing that. And the more feedback we get on that, the more we can talk to others about what our goals are. and what we're
Sure.
doing,
I
so.
think this is, in the end, I think we keep this pretty simple. We
Uh-huh.
maximize use of bullets
Yeah,
and maybe
Yeah.
some pictures and other things. And
Yeah.
I could probably get some folks to technically edit it, and we produce it, and I can make copies and all that at my office. But maybe it's 10 or 15 pages total. I don't think we make it a tome.
yeah,
No one's gonna read it.
yeah, I
That's exactly
agree.
right. And we keep it, we
Short.
really have to work to keep it in language that is
Is you,
accessible.
yeah,
And
accessible.
I'll have to rely on all you guys for that, because
Yeah. So
I'll be
Jim,
the
are you?
dumb editor.
Yeah. Good.
I'll be the engineer ease editor.
Okay.
All
And
right.
actually, I'm used to doing some of that. So,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, guys. I don't know if there's anything else that we need to cover tonight. If we get those minutes out
Yeah.
and make sure that we give that feedback to Jim on the outline, I think we're pretty good. We'll get the newsletter out to Preble and get as much as we can. And I know each of the lakes are at a different spot, but the survey out, whether it be through an email blast or whatever your intentions on that might be. Then we
I
can.
almost think it'd be
forward.
worthwhile if we try to coordinate that a little bit. So we set a week, we all send it out, so we get kind of a synoptic view of
Okay.
everybody's feeling on it. If we spread it out, if we have a big rainstorm the weekend before somebody gets it, then they may have a different response.
Right. So given that, Jim, I mean, it's pretty much, people start coming back to the lake around Memorial Day, so if we set, I mean, it's just a thought, if we look at setting, a goal of sending it out the first week of May,
Sure.
would you say that's a good timeline for all of us to think about? Because we can start advertising that it's coming, sort of prime the pump a little. I can do, save the date for the annual meeting. We're going to be doing a storm response survey the first week of May. Get ready to check your mail and all that. And we can see how that goes.
We can also put a link in our article to
Yeah.
go to Preble and
That'd be great.
possibly even Tully.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Tarky, will you send me the?
If we put it in the article, are we gonna get responses from people outside of the lake?
Well, and on it, it says what lake are you on.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I think that would
And
be.
it's interesting. I mean, I don't know for sure if there would be any local farm people that are along the trib that were affected by the storm runoff that, be interesting. Maybe we should add other and just see what we get, because I'm wondering if other people had issues with flooding other than us, I mean, obviously that's our intention. But I don't know,
I would try to keep it focused just because,
just the lakes. Mhm.
yeah, because otherwise it might be hard to
Tally that stuff.
disseminate,
Yeah,
try to evaluate the data.
right.
Yeah,
So
I just put out,
Mhm.
oh, go ahead, Colin.
No, I was going to say, so if we add it to the newsletters and they don't check that they're part of a lake, then we can just toss them.
The one question would be, because I just put this, I created the Google form and so I'm getting the data back and I'm going to be able to figure out how to analyze it now that I've got something to work with. But I had people on the weed control. I had them that I'm collecting their email, so it's not anonymous. So I wonder, do we make this survey anonymous or not? If you're going to weigh in, let us know who you are.
I think we already made it anonymous. People can choose to put them in
Optional.
or not. Yeah.
Optional.
So, because the
Right.
responses are going to go to Amy, right, through the Google setup that she has. And we only asked, I actually put my name on it, okay, on mine, but it is an option.
Yeah, I think if, in particular, if there's some damage or something, I can see if people are interested in selling their lake property and they don't want knowledge to know that their basement flooded and they had $10,000 worth of damage. You know, I mean,
Well, they had E. coli in their well.
Right.
That bothers a lot of
So
people.
I
Don't
would
talk
say-
about septics. So,
Right.
Good
So this might
point.
be good to be anonymous then. I
Yeah.
get that.
Or
as long as
optional.
they let us know what lake they're on, we do have to have that. So
Right.
in order to understand what's going on between the different lakes. So,
So Tarky,
okay.
quick question before we look at a next meeting date.
Sure.
The last video, did you make it into a YouTube video? Because they have a timeline related to it and then they go away. If you can send me the 2 links.
I think the link is in the drive.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then also for tonight, I can make them into a
Right.
YouTube video that makes them a little easier to share among each other at least. Because I
Yeah.
think they go away after a while, at least in the
I think they
past.
have a 30-day time
Yeah,
frame
then they
at
go
least.
away.
So,
Yeah.
all
Okay.
right. So I'll just make sure that this goes into that same
Yep.
file for the minutes
Mhm.
in the Dropbox, and we can work on it
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
And I will contact Kim and find out what's up. Although there's a lot going on in people's lives, so you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Not to mention the
okay.
world.
I know, not to
Yeah.
mention the world.
Yeah, not to. Let's not.
Yeah.
So do we have a need to meet before May? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm trying to think of what.
I would like to, because this has been a great, I mean, this is wonderful and it's really good to have a conversation, but would be great to have Little York with us
Okay.
and have an actual structured meeting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I
'Cause-
think we need the feedback on the outline so we can make some
Yeah.
assignments and not have
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
get sort of languish.
Gotcha.
2
So,
weeks?
As much as I love Wednesday evening meetings.
okay.
Yeah, we're all there with you. So 20th?
I can't attend that day, but that doesn't mean that I can't look at the video. I'm going to be actually flying back to Tully, and I'll be there for just a few days, and then coming back to Florida, and then coming back for the Nice Fuller conference the following week. So
You're actually flying twice?
I have to now. Tyler can't come back and help Lily fly with the babies. So I'm going to help her fly the babies back because it is traumatic. I find. I think we all should be medicated.
Yeah, the Wednesday of the 20th and the 27th, I am out of town, so I won't be able to participate on a Wednesday evening.
All right. Well, what would work for you, Jim and Colleen?
Are you there? Are you in town the 20? Well, let's see, because I'll be in Tully. Let's see, the 19th, Tarky, the night before, we have a Kettle Lakes meeting, and I prefer not to do 2 in a row.
I'm not doing to her.
I know, right? Do we want to look at maybe something? How about the 26th? Is that a good day for anybody? The following Tuesday,
Yeah, that could work.
the
Works for me.
26th?
The 26th?
No, I'm sorry, I'm traveling that day. Never mind.
Okay.
25th works, 29th works.
Could we do the 25th? Does that work for people?
25th. Why don't we
Okay.
shoot for that? Okay.
All right, 6 o'clock,
Yep.
storm response.
Mhm.
Okay, so I will get the video and I will do some minutes and send them out with that date. The 25th at 6 o'clock. Good.
I'm sorry, I can't do the 25th. I just saw sorry, I have a
Okay.
Seneca and Cayuga Lake public meeting that night.
Okay. So, let's see. And then I'll be in town for the nice Fuller conference, the 27th. So what's a good day for you, Jim? Let's work with that schedule.
21st or 22nd work. The 21st would be preferable. Thursday night.
Thursday, the 21st. That works for me. Is that good? Are we all good with that one?
Oh, sorta. Yeah, let's do it.
Are you sure, Turkey? Because we can.
I'm just gonna be sitting here all day.
I know, we can play. We can do one of those doodle polls. I don't know how to do them, but other people do them.
No, let's just go with it. It's fine.
21st,
Yeah,
6 o'clock.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that, folks. I'm starting to get busy again, so.
Oh, it looks it.
Can I ask you what your meeting with Seneca and Cayuga is about?
We just finished a 9E plan for them.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yep.
great.
And so we did all the modeling to support that. We work with Liz Moran out of Ecologic.
Yep, I know
And,
Liz. Yeah.
Yep. And it's been a couple years, a lot of
Right.
work. That's the final.
Wow.
Well, good luck with it. That's a
Thank
big
you.
deal.
Good
A lot
luck.
of work.
Yep.
All right, it's good to see everybody. So we'll
Yeah,
see you all
thank
that
you.
Thursday.
All right, take care.
Very
Morning,
good.
everybody.
Nice to see everybody. Take care.
Good to see
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.